Hello and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat, where we will be previewing the Mighty Hawks game coming up this Sunday, Arvo at 1:10 at the G. I'm joined, as always, by Speech, Daff, and Pato. How are we feeling, boys?
Confident, mate.
Unreal, mate.
Confident. Oh, okay. It's a word that we don't usually say too much. But anyway, all right, we're going to start into obviously the injuries. So who's out, who's in. So Martin and Cerra should come back in. It's kind of weird calling that an injury, isn't it? I mean, obviously out with health and safety protocols, obviously, and then Omak this it's due to back spasms, I believe. Pato, do you want to run us through that, mate? How many games are you expected to miss? Is it just precautionary? Run us through that, mate.
Yeah, so he should only miss the one just because I think he's just going on some sort of program just to make sure that they don't risk the big OMAC. But I think just because he's had history with back spasms, that he should be that they're not going to try and risk him. So I just think it's probably a smart move from the club, and I don't mind it because it might bring in a certain debut of a certain player that Sammy, you would take us through.
Well, no, Parks has played before, so unfortunately it won't be that good. But
Salmon's also played before, so I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, obviously it could be a debut, obviously for us for Lewis Young as well. Do you see that happening, Ethan, or who do you sort of see coming in to fill Omac's role, mate?
Yeah, lock it in, mate. I think it's a perfect swap. I think Lewis Young was good on the weekend in the twos. He looked very solid. And I think, how old is he? He'd be younger than 24, wouldn't he be? 23?
Yeah.
22,
23.
So definitely a lot of potential there for him. So I think we have to play him this weekend.
Yeah.
My wife just went on with. Yeah, no, that's a good shout, mate. I didn't hear Parks' name in there, didn't I? Speech.
Yeah, I think Young gets the gig. I think just on like a swap there. I think it's a lot to prove. I think, obviously being a new recruit to the club and not being in the best 22 straight away, I think it is a good opportunity against the Hawks with Gunston and Lewis in form for him to really prove himself. And he does, deserve a spot there and, battle with Omak when he is fit.
And obviously, Pato, you sort of mentioned it before. Do you expect Lewis Young to come in, mate?
Yeah, I do. I think it's probably the only realistic swap. Omak out, Lewis Young in, and I've just researched. So he's 23. So that's young. Lewis Young. So what do you there? Lewis Young. Bang. You guys, bottom. But I mean, he does look good because he hasn't had a lot of opportunities at West Bulldogs. So hopefully, he can actually hold his own with him actually stepping in for Omak. But we'll see. We'll see.
Do see what you did there, mate. That was good. In 50 years' time, you won't be able to make that joke that you've got it perfect time. No, that's good. That's good shouts, boys. I like that. All right. Well, who do you see replacing Cerra? Like obviously Cerra and Martin. Obviously Cerra definitely coming back in. Do we think Martin will come straight back in as well? If so, who misses out, Ethan?
I think I've got Fogarty for Martin, and unfortunately, I think Setterfield has to make way for Cerra. I think Setters was good on Thursday night. I think he was very, very solid. But I think he'll be the medical sub.
Yeah. Awesome. Hello.
Yeah, I disagree about Setterfield. I just love having the two genuine wingers. So I think mine is, unfortunately, as well as we all thought Fogarty did, I think he probably comes out for Martin. And Cerra comes in for Zach Fisher. I have Zach Fisher being dropped just because I don't think his impact, I don't know what his role is, because I think it's too similar to the Durdens and the Owies. And I think Durden and Owies are probably in front of Fisher because I just don't know what Fisher is doing. I don't know what, I mean, of course he's an awesome player. Literally, this is a good problem to have, but I don't know what his role is. So I would rather Voss say to him, look, I want you to focus on this certain thing in the VFL. Focus on this thing, go into the VFL, dominate, make his way back into the side.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout, mate. I agree. Speechly?
Just before I go, Daff, so you have Setters out. Does that mean you're rotating Walsh and Cerra on that other wing with O'Brien, or is that
Yes.
Yeah.
On the other wing. Yep.
You
Yeah,
read his
okay,
mind,
sick.
Speechley.
And yeah, I agree with Pato. I think Fogarty out for Martin, and then Fisher for Cerra for the same reasons, pretty much.
Yeah, no, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, we mentioned him before. Luke Parks. Do you see him playing many games? Obviously, I'm a big fan this sort of season. Do you see him? Who sort of needs to go out, I guess, for him to come in? Do we need multiple injuries? Sort of where does he sit in line, do you reckon, Speechley? What's your opinion?
It's an interesting one because he's that sort of medium defender. It's kind of hard for swapping for a like because he's kind of unique in that way. I don't know. It's tough because he's a very solid footballer. I don't know. It's tough. I think him and Plowman are sort of in that same sort of mold at the moment. It's kind of hard to squeeze him in, but yeah, it's difficult. I think a few injuries have to happen, but yeah, he's not bad by any means.
Yeah, for sure. Pato?
Yeah, as much as I like Parks, I really do like Parks, and I just think it's good that we are finally starting to show some sort of depth. But I think Plowman's in front of him. Stocker, we're forgetting Stocker. Stocker is in front of Parks, but it's good that because just before we move on, but Stocker is actually is making his return to VFL this week, so that's good to see. And hopefully in a few weeks. Hopefully in a few weeks, Stocker will be back. But I think probably Stocker and Plowman are just in front of Parks. But it's good because he's a good footballer.
Yeah. Would you say it's a good problem to have?
100%. 100%, mate. Awesome problem to have.
Saying that. You say that a lot. So
what? Wait, what?
It's a good problem to have. You love to say it. Have you noticed that?
It's a good problem to have, mate.
It's a good problem to have.
The depth of the Carlton Football Boys.
2 games in. Ethan, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I agree with Jack and Mitchy boy. I just don't see him because I think the dynamic of our back six is a lot different to past years. I think while we just have a bit more pace in there, I don't think he can't really switch for a Sard or a Williams. I think they're untouchables right now, unless obviously injury. Maybe he comes in if Newman's maybe out of form, but I think Newey's been fantastic. I think by foot he's been enormous. Apart from that 1 minute of whatever we were doing back there on Thursday night, but no, I think he's good, Luke. I think he's hard at it. Like last year, he showed us. I just don't think he cracks into the team.
But he did smile at me at the open training session. Yeah.
So for that reason, he should be in the side because he smiled at Sammy.
Captaining the side, exactly right.
Captain him right now.
That's it's like David Teague's selection integrity right there. Pick the good blokes. Pick the good friends.
Bang.
Langer as well. Alrighty. Do you know what I found interesting? It's always our fashion sense. I think if you go from the episode 1 to now, it just changes so much. Like Pato, you don't know if he's going to go with the big headphones, the little AirPods. You never know what he's going to go with. It's always if you don't follow the Blues, it's good to tune in just to see what technology and clothing Pato is rolling with each week.
Oh, boy, oh boy.
Ethan, do you want to run us through just, I guess, the key matchups, who will reader intake and all that good stuff, mate?
Yeah, well, for me, I don't, no disrespect to Hawthorn. I haven't really watched them play too much this season. I didn't really watch much of Saturday night's game. I just checked the scores here and there. But obviously, Mitch Lewis and Gunston have been in real good form. I think they're really good forwards for them. I think for them to play well, those two need to really step it up, and they have. I think it's tough because I think Gunston's one of those forwards that can really play higher up the ground. I think Weeder will go to a Mitch Lewis, and I think Lewis Young will go to a Gunston. What do we think of that, boys?
Yeah, spot on. I think.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So what else have we got? Kerno, Mackay, Silvani versus Frost, Sicily, and Granger Barras. I personally think this is another situation we had on Thursday night where I think Harry and Kerno can really break open the game in a sense. What do you reckon, boys? How do you reckon the boys will go considering the Hawthorn defence?
I just don't rate I don't rate the defense. Like, I don't really rate them as high. And this might be one of these moments where it's a Suvalaki, where he pretty much keeps Mackay and Kerno to 0 goals and they both get 45 disposals each. But
Oh no.
imagine that. But I think Sicily would probably play in the McGovern role where he kind of plays as that loose defender, the rebounding one where he marks, because he's a good kick. But yeah, I don't rate Ross. Ross. I couldn't even say his name right. Ross. I don't rate him. I don't rate Frost as high. I think he was okay at Melbourne. When he moved to Hawthorn, I don't know. But that might come back to bite me in the ass. What about you, Speechy? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like Frost as a defender, but as soon as he tries to kick the footy, that's out the window. But yeah, I think I do rate Hawthorn's defense a little bit higher than you do, Paddy. Like, obviously, it's not like top 5, but
yeah,
like it's solid. I mean, Denver Grange Barras are young, but he's got plenty of potential as well for them. I think it's a good matchup, just from a spectator's point of view. But I still think we should take the chocolates in saying that though. But yeah, I mean, Sicily coming back's been really good, so it'll be good. It'll be a good watch.
Completely agree. Any more for us, Daff?
Yeah, so obviously Rucks has been a big talking point, pre-season. We were talking about, are we going to have 2 Rucks? Are we going to have 1 Ruck? Obviously, we've gone with both Pitto and TDK, and I think what they both bring is different to each other. And I think it actually complements each other very, very well. So they'll be coming up against Big Boy McAvoy, who's been a good ruckman for a long, long time. And Ned Reeves, who debuted against us last year. He's a tall, lanky lad. He goes all right. He goes all right. He moves around quite well for a big fella. How do we see this going in the area in this area of the ground, boys?
I honestly thought you were describing yourself there for a second. Tall, lanky.
He's massive. He's real tall. He was making Pitto look very, very short. What do you reckon, Patto?
Yeah, because like last year when he made his debut, I was just like, who is this guy? Like I don't know what number he is. I think he's like 37 or something. But like, I'm like, who is this guy? But yeah, I think we should probably have that covered. I just think that, like as you said, Daff, just the TDK and Pitt, like that combination is awesome. Just because TDK can go forward, Pitt probably not go forward, go off the bench and have a break, but TDK can have that ruckman and then push forward into the and like hopefully take some marks and goals. But I think we should have them covered. But yeah, not much more to add.
Especially,
yeah, I mean, obviously, I really like Big Boy McAvoy. He's very versatile for them. He goes back a lot. So that's something that we got to take into consideration with the Frost situation as well, that he sits in the hole a lot. But yeah, I think for the ruck point of view, I think the dynamic between TDK and Pitt is just a little bit better between McAvoy and Reeves. So yeah, I think we take that as well.
Spot on, mate.
Completely agree. My go with?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I wouldn't say undersell Pitt too much in terms of ruck and then goals. Like, I think some of the, like, he was sort of bringing back like almost like Cruiser-esque memories in terms of, like, sometimes when he was like good. Like, I know people actually give him a bit of shit, but like
Pitt was actually good. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's actually like good. Like even just picking the ball up and handballing is things that a ruckman is usually a bit sloppy, I guess, at, but like he was actually pretty clean at it. And
clean.
Like, yeah, like he's actually pretty strong too. Like he can outbody his the other ruckman pretty easily. Reeves is a giant, but yeah, I see his play obviously very experienced McAvoy, but yeah, as you've always said,
with Pitto as well, I think his ruck work's fantastic. Whether that's Cruiser coming in as the ruck coach, was it this year or end of last year as well? But he really, like on the weekend, he just killed the Dogs. Even with English, their number 1 ruckman in the ruck, he was killing them. Like, it's really good to see. And he's under 40 games. There's potential for Pitto, seriously.
Yeah, completely agree. Do you see? We might have spoken about this last week. I can't remember. The obviously the re-signing as well recently of Durden and Murkoff. So do you see that as interesting? What do you reckon the thoughts are? What the plans are with him going forward? Obviously, we've got TDK and Pitt. So it's a hard team to break into at the moment as a ruckman. How do you see sort of his career unpanning, and what's sort of the goals going forward for him? Do you reckon, East?
Yeah, it's a tough one to really know what's going to happen with him. But you can tell they've really they've re-signed him, so they have faith in him. He's a tall lad. He's massive. He's like 7 foot. I think he's the biggest of the club. He was a volleyball player, so obviously got that athleticism. If you just get games behind him and see how he goes, he could turn into anything really.
Yeah, agree. Pato, do you agree with that, mate?
Yeah, spot on. I just think purely with Murkov, I don't mind him. I mean, I hope he doesn't look at other clubs if he doesn't get an opportunity, because eventually he will get that opportunity. Because who was that? I think it was Bruce who moved to GWS, and it was kind of like weird that he moved. No, Melbourne, I think it was, because he moved there, and it was kind of weird because he was probably behind and gone. Don't know if Jackson was at the club then, but it was kind of weird that he moved there. But he was that third ruckman, but all of a sudden he got that opportunity. So I think it's good that Murkov is there, because especially now that it looks like that the club's going with the 2 genuine ruckmen, if one of these guys do get injured, Murkov's in. So I think it's good that he kind of stays around, and hopefully he loves the culture of the club, that he actually wants to stay around. And hopefully the club can actually sell him something saying, you are the future and we want you at the club however long it takes, but hopefully he does get his opportunity eventually.
Completely agree with you, mate. Speechley?
Oh yeah, he was obviously taken in the mid-season draft last year as that project player. So I think it would have been a little bit counterintuitive if, we did not re-sign him. I think especially as he is that longer term prospect. So I think extra 2 years probably makes sense in the context of why we signed him.
All right, beautiful boys. Well done. We've spoken about the matchups now. We've sort of briefly touched on who we think will come out for certain players. So this one might be sort of just going over the same thing again, but we'll do it anyway. So who do we see as under the pump? Who needs to perform? I mean, obviously it's hard to say. We're 2-0. It's hard to, it's a good problem to have, Mitchell. It's hard to pinpoint just one player, I guess, who's under the pump, but I want you to do it. Ethan, who would be under the pump for you, mate?
I'd say Fisher. Like you guys said, he just doesn't have a role that's locked in. Where he just needs to find a role. That's all he needs to do.
Yep, Pato.
It's interesting that you actually said that, Duff, because you have him on the field, but like, wouldn't you think that maybe I kind of get with Setterfield because he probably won't get that opportunity with medical stuff. But I think this is an interesting one, and I want your thoughts on this. But if O'Brien and Setterfield do actually play and they're on the field, do they have to back up as they did last week? Because once again, if Lockie O'Brien has one of those games where he looks like he's shitting himself, that could be probably even worse than how we viewed it 2 weeks ago. Because we kind of were saying this like, nah, this guy's like, I mean, we weren't, but a lot of people were saying that this guy needs to get dropped from the club. And then he brought out a game like that. Is it more important on these guys that they need to respond with another game? Because if they don't respond, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, have to respond.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah, completely agree. Speechley, you agree with Mitchell Pattinson?
Yeah, I think it's just his key. There's no point playing one good game and 3 shit ones in a month of footy. So, definitely got to back it up every week.
Yeah. Who would you have, mate, under the pump?
I mean, obviously I've said Fisher out for Cerra, but if he plays, then him. Otherwise, it's only under the pump, but I got always just to not necessarily under the pump, but just really own that small forward spot. Obviously, we've talked about Fisher. So really prove why he should still stay in the side. I think, always for me.
Spot on.
Well said, mate. I probably had to throw that one, I reckon. All righty, moving on to some questions. Got a few questions sent in here by our wonderful fans, boys. So we'll go to you get a load of these. All right, we'll go to Harrow first. Shout out. How much will the Blues lose by this week? Actually, we'll leave that one for the match predictions anyway. So we'll go to Aiden Box. You scared? ? Ethan?
No, I'm not scared at all. I think during the last quarter, well, even the second half, when Bulldogs were in control, I backed the team in. I've never really done it fully. Backed them in. I backed them in. I knew we were going to win the game, and I back them in again. And I'm not scared at all. Not scared. We can't be scared of teams like this.
Well said, mate. Do you do the cooking at home? Random question. Because you look like you'd be able to at least chop the veggies.
No,
up very-
definitely not. Definitely not. Don't let me cook. Don't let me cook.
Stay away from the kitchen. I know you're scared, mate.
Well, I mean, shout out to Fish. Dylan, who more? I mean, let's be real. I don't really know why we would be scared. I don't think they have any threatening players. But now I've said that, Mitch Lewis will now kick 13.
I'm just picturing this part of this video being cut out.
Like
and just
literally,
being played.
I can remember the North Melbourne game last year. I said, we got no idea to be scared about, do we, boys? But no, I think personally, we should be fine. We should be fine. The way that we perform, as Duff said, as we said last week as well, we've set that standard, stick to that standard. If we know Carlton footy that it's been for the first 2 weeks, we should have the job done against the Hawks.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, they're coming off a very impressive win, a very, I guess, unlikely win. So I definitely didn't expect them to win. I don't know about you boys, but So both teams going in undefeated. We can't take them easy, I don't think, but scared. I wouldn't go that far. Speechly.
Big shock. Yeah, I'm scared. These teams that were meant to win, they're scarier than the teams that are not meant to win. For me, I'm very, very nervous. We're not matchupping. We don't match up very well with the Hawks. So I'm scared.
Classic speech. Classic speech.
You're scared of your own shadows. That's not exactly.
You're not wrong. It's pretty scary.
Surprising. So another question, boys. Moving on to the next one from M Woods Media. Go chuck it a follow if you haven't already. Shout out. What are some areas that worry you, and how do you think they would best be solved? Jackson Speechley.
I guess in terms of us, of our performance, I'm assuming. I guess it's just consistency for me. Obviously, we're going off 2 weeks of football rather than 20 years of football that we've seen previous to that. So I think that's just my biggest concern, that we can be able to back up the first 2 weeks and have a good season, I guess, and not just ended on 2 weeks of good footy and fall off the cliff again. Yeah,
I completely agree, mate. Well, you, Pato, what are some areas that worry you, and how do you think they would best be solved? How would you solve them?
I don't think there's much more to add, really. I think that was absolutely spot on. I just think that now we have that spine. We've got the list. Now we just have to stay relevant for the next 10 years. Like, we need to be a dominant club. We can't have that. Let's hope that one of these, like this year, we're actually good. We can't drop off next year. We can't go back down to 16, 17. We'd have to stay around that mark and keep getting better. So not much more to add, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, agree, mate. Not much more to add, but I will ask Ethan anyway if that's all right. So, Ethan?
No areas I'm really worried about. All ends of the ground, it's been perfect. Obviously, you've got things here and there. There might be certain passages of play where our decision-making might need to be better, but it's tough to see when you're not actually inside the four walls of the footy club. I'm sure Vossi's got a lot of things to talk about, but just got to be consistent.
Awesome, mate. Yep, completely agree. All right, well, that's about it. We'll save, obviously, the third question. We'll go to the match predictions now, actually, then. So how much will the Blues lose by this week, Ethan, or who will win and by how much, mate?
I always tip the Blues. So I've got the Blues by 41. I think it's going to be a bit of a statement win. I know, the Hawks. Everyone's up and about the Hawks, but I think it's our time to just push through and get their losing streak going. Yep.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Hello.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I just think that if we get one of these wins where it's like against Hawthorn where they haven't lost yet, if we get one of these statement wins, as Daff said, like 40 points, I'm going 43 points. If we get one of these wins, we've set that standard. So let's hope.
Well, you ready, Speechley?
Well, Sam Mitchell is 15-1 as a player against the Blues, but he'll be 0-1 as a coach. Blues by 12.
Hey!
Sorry, by how many?
What was that, sorry?
What was the margin? Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
13.
Thursday night.
Oh.
Well, how much did the Blues lose by this week? And are you scared from Aiden? I'll combine the two together and say how much did the Hawks win by last week? 63?
64.
I reckon we'll win by 65 points.
Way. Boy, oh boy.
7 goals, I reckon. Alrighty, beautiful. Well, all right, now we'll go into a few other predictions. Ethan, run us through who will get the first goal and who will be best on ground, mate.
First goal, Harry Mackay. Best on ground, Cripps. He's going to have 9 votes after 3 rounds. Lock it in.
Bang. Pato?
I've got a little bit different. So Matty Owi's first goal to really statement. Imagine that. And your man Daff, Georgie Hewitt. Georgie Hewitt will be best on ground.
Like the sound of that.
Sounds good to me. Speechley?
I'm going to go Cerra first goal out of the middle. And then Bog. Actually, I'm going to do the double. I reckon Cerra on return will be Bog as well.
Oh,
Bang. Love it. All right. First goal for me will be Dirds, and then I'll go best on ground. With Cerra first game back as well. All right, boys. That just about wraps up another episode. Anything else you wanted to add?
That's all, mate. Just absolutely stoked for Sunday. Let's go.
Awesome. Yeah. Get down there if you can, obviously. And thanks for watching. And make sure you subscribe, like, do all the good stuff. And Pato, as always.
And as always, go the mighty Blues.
come on.